Hi, I'm Alex Dodgel. Today I have a very special guest with me today, Mr. Reardon, a veteran who served in the Navy in the Pacific Theater. So, Mr. Reardon, can you tell me what was your role in World War II?
I was a storekeeper on a USS Millette, a transport.
At what age did you leave for the Navy?
I was only 17.
Did you get to finish high school before leaving?
Yes, I finished high school in June and went into the Navy in September. I enlisted. I got to choose which branch of service I went in.
Was there any time during the war you had time off?
Well, Liberty, what we call Liberty when you could go ashore overnight, and then came home one time for a leave, a couple weeks. Other than that, no. That was after I was on the ship. I didn't go on the ship right away, but after I was assigned to the ship, it was pretty much all the time then.
So did you go through training first?
I went to Great Lakes training first, yeah, and then I went to storekeeper school in Toledo.
So what does exactly a storekeeper do?
Well, he takes care of all the supplies for the ship, food on up to paper and pencils, and also takes care of the money part of it. That's what I did, was a payroll storekeeper.
So, do you know how many people were on the ship with you at the time?
About 450,
450?
not counting troops. I mean, that was the crew.
Yeah.
When we had troops, there was another 1,500.
What battles did your ship participate in?
Iwo Jima, Okinawa, and the Japanese occupation.
How long did those battles last?
Well, the Iwo Jima lasted, when we were there, lasted about 2 weeks. Because after the battle started, then we stayed there and took wounded on the ship until our hospital area was full. Then we went back to Guam. And at Okinawa, we were there for a couple weeks, but the troops weren't needed, so we took the troops back to Guam.
Did you ever encounter racial remarks of the Japanese?
Not that I remember, no.
How old were you when Pearl Harbor happened?
18. Oh, wait, when Pearl Harbor happened?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Would have been 41.
41. 16.
How and when did the war come to an end?
Well, you remember in your history lessons about the atomic bomb, and we were at Guam. If you know where Guam is, it's an island in the North Pacific that America was originally an American possession, but then the Japanese occupied it early in the war, and the Americans took it back. And then when they dropped the atomic bomb, the first one, well, then they started talking about peace, you know. Well, when they dropped the second one, then the Japanese got more enthusiastic about peace, and that's when we knew the war was near an end, and they assembled this big flotilla of all kinds of ships to take care of the occupation. And our ship was in Tokyo Bay when they signed the surrender papers. General MacArthur, you've probably heard of him. And recently, in the last couple of weeks, they had a color film about the road to Japan, all from the MacArthur standpoint. Didn't include what the Marines did, but it pretty well highlighted all the operations that were Army based, like the Philippines.
Right.
Of course, the Navy was involved in all of them, but it showed the Philippines, showed MacArthur walking ashore in the Philippines like he promised, and it showed the negotiations in Tokyo Bay on the Missouri.
Okay.
And then what MacArthur did to start governing the Japanese people.
Right.
Which the first thing he did was mystify the Japanese emperor. I mean, the Japanese people thought he was a god, but MacArthur proved to them that he was only an ordinary individual,
Right.
and that helped the governance of Japan.
Uh-huh. So what was a typical day on the ship?
Well, for me and for any storekeepers, being after a normal routine in the morning when we were at sea, you had to go on deck and man your battle stations as the sun came up, which was the worst time of the day for submarines. And after that was over, then if you hadn't had breakfast yet, you go eat breakfast and then go do whatever your duty was for the day. And I was a storekeeper when
Okay.
worked on the payroll. And, then I always stood watch at night besides my regular duties, and that was on the bridge. The bridge is what controls the ship, for the navigation and all that. So, but I always stood my watch at night, 4 hours
Okay.
at a time. So, but the rest of your day was you did your routine duties, and unless there was something, you got called to battle stations like we would have when we were at Iwo Jima. We were at
Right.
battle stations almost all the time, but I was a gunner on a 20 millimeter anti-aircraft gun.
Okay.
About how many ships were like in your area?
Well, hundreds, I guess I would say. When we were going to a place like Iwo Jima, or even more so when we went to Japan, they assembled a huge fleet of battleships and cruisers and destroyers and transports and any kind of ship you could think of. In fact, I got a flotilla list here someplace.
So you were on your ship was a transport ship.
Mhm.
So
And it was called an attack transport. We had a small landing craft on the decks that we'd put down, and the boat crews would take the troops ashore
okay.
and
Huh.
and their equipment. That's, I don't know, picture here of the ship someplace. Well, that's the ship on that right there. Well, here's a better picture. That's what the ship looked like. See these.
So how big was the ship?
Ship was about 450 feet long
So it's
and weighed about 14,000 pounds. And it carried a lot of cargo. That these are cargo booms here. Could unload, load and unload.
so is this where the gunners were
That's
right
a
up
gun,
here?
yeah, this is another gun thing here. We had a 5-inch.
Where were you on the ship?
Well, when I was in the gun emplacement, it was probably like this one here or someplace in there. Can't see them all on there, but this is where the boats that we took the people ashore on were in these davits, and they lowered them into the water. Okay, there's a couple of the boats right there. That's a pencil drawing some guy did.
I really appreciate this time of you sharing your experiments of World War II.
You're welcome.